Hi, welcome to the Mohua show. My name is Mohua Chinappa and I am an author, entrepreneur, and ex housewife. This podcast is about everything from business to technology to arts to lifestyle, but done and spoken ईमानदारी से. In today's episode, we have Dr. Karishma Kagodu. She's no less than a magician in the world of plastic surgery. So we have Karishma with us today. She's the force behind Karishma Aesthetics. She's not just a skilled surgeon, but also a fitness enthusiast. So I need to hear more about it from you. And a dreamer of global adventures. Wow, that's quite a bit packed into one. You're going to tell us more about all of this. So first question that comes to my mind is this. Can you tell us, our listeners, about your journey in the field of plastic surgery? What motivated you to specialize in cosmetic procedures, especially in body contouring and face rejuvenation? Of course, I understand that everybody wants to look good. We are in a world where, everybody likes to present themselves really well. But what prompted you to take this up?
I joined my medicine back in 2001. And to be honest, when I was in school and, in my ninth and 10th grade, I was a jazz dancer. I was a swimmer for YMCA in Bombay. And I totally did not think of science at one particular time. I was with Shamak Davars for 6 years during school. So I'm a dancer. I love swimming. But then, you know what? At one particular time, our generation and my parents said, there's nothing. You become a doctor, lawyer, or an engineer. I was very bad in mathematics. So science was probably the option that I chose for. And I don't regret it a single day after making that decision, because it really has changed my life, and I am what I am today because of that decision. Well, I still love dancing and all of that aside, but I always liked beauty, fashion, like dressing up, and I was always thrilled about personality in general. My mom was a big inspiration in my life. To someone who I've seen from her college years to however old she was, she always loved to look good, and she was always up like, I grow old, if I need plastic surgery, I will get it done. And we're talking about she being in her 60s that time. She was an inspiration, and because of my passion for beauty, fashion, and just looking good and having a good personality, while I did my medicine, I knew that I had a knack for anatomy, which is so important for a surgeon. And, when I was exposed to the field of surgery, I said, okay, I know what I'm doing. It's going to be aesthetic surgery, plastic surgery, and for that I have to be a general surgeon also. So I think I'd way before in my medical days decided that I'm going to do is my super specialization in plastic surgery. And of course, in plastic surgery there is two aspects of it. There is reconstruction, there's burn surgery, there's trauma, and then there is the portion of aesthetic surgery, which I always had my interest in. So for many years I did practice all of plastic surgery, including reconstruction. And my inspiration was my mom, of course, to really get into aesthetic surgery. And I think I had the feel of it, and I felt that I'm meant for aesthetic surgery.
How wonderful, Karishma. Your educational background has been across the world, right? There's been a lot of international experiences that you have and many countries that you studied in. So can you just share as to which are the aspects on which country that you brought back with yourself to India?
Right. So the thing is, when we are trained as a general surgeon, and then I went on to do plastic surgery, the super specialty in our medical colleges and universities in most places is we are exposed to mainly trauma and reconstructive part of plastic surgery. And not many people know that plastic surgery in general is a combination of plastic, reconstructive, and aesthetic surgery. So, being exposed to more reconstructive surgery, we were good at fixing fractures on the face, and we were dealing with burn patients, burn victims, hand injuries, and body injuries. I had my interest in aesthetic surgery, and the only way I would gain that specialized extra knowledge is that if I would travel and do fellowships abroad. And the best fellowships were going to countries which specialize in certain aesthetic surgeries. So, of course, I did go to conferences, find out who's the surgeons that I want to work with, whose work inspired me. And so I started my journey in Dubai. and I worked under a very famous plastic surgeon there who I gained experience and knowledge on body contouring, on breast surgeries, and was there for a few months. And then I went to do my specialization in rhinoplasty, or what we call the nose job, in Turkey. Everybody knows Turkey is the heart of rhinoplasty. It's, I think, one of the best rhinoplasties we see. And so I trained in Turkey, specialized in rhinoplasty surgery. Then I traveled to UK in Chelmsford, where I did a fellowship on only breast cancer reconstructive surgery as well as breast cosmetic surgery. So, and then finally I went to Italy and stayed there for many months and got my fellowship degree in facial aesthetic reconstructive surgery. So yeah, all of the countries, and then I kept going abroad because there's so much of international exposure. India, definitely, we have developed leaps and bounds in the last decade when it comes to aesthetic surgery, but still many people are unaware that we do everything they do abroad. So my idea was bringing international standards down to our country. In Bangalore, when I started my clinic 5 years back, there was not a single female plastic surgeon in the whole of Karnataka. Nobody who had a private center, cosmetic center. I mean, I have lived in a male dominated profession. Being a surgeon, when I was a general surgeon and then a plastic surgeon, a predominantly male dominated profession. So my idea was that I have to do something in my city which no one has seen before and no one has done and no female has done. So I was one of the first female plastic surgeons to actually open a private cosmetic daycare center in Bangalore and have everything aesthetics under one roof. And my center, in terms of its experience, the ambience, the designing, I think all of that was, brought from all my international experiences, including obviously my hands on skill, the skill that I learned, and the skill and the techniques that I learned abroad was one thing, but also bringing back the kind of setup that we need to give international standards of aesthetic surgery here in India.
It's going to be very interesting to know from you that majority of your clients, are they women or are they men? Because I'd really like to believe today grooming, aesthetics and all of that has really crossed over. We find a lot of men who are also taking interest, and it's such a fantastic time to actually be in the business that you're in. I
Yes,
see
yes,
this so much, right? There is
yes.
a huge community, that the third gender that we talk about, the queer community. There are many people who want to come in and go through many of these surgeries if they can afford to do it. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about how is it that you deal, with male patients and with women patients? What are the kind of queries that you generally get from, a man and a woman, or from the queer community? Have you got any ever?
So I feel when I started my practice about 12 to 13 years back, it was a 90-10% ratio of my clients. So it was 90% women and 10% men. And the few men who came, it was more like remove my tummy fat. So the biggest problem for men would be love handles and, the belly fat a little bit, and they would want the reduction. And one of the most commonest treatments we still do in men is a gynecomastia, which is like an abnormal development of breast tissue in men. So they have a chest which is like popping out. It looks a little female, feminine like. So I think these are the very common procedures. In the last 5 to 7 years, there has been a exceptional jump in men, more and more men wanting different kinds of cosmetic procedures, and not just that, even non-surgical procedures, skin treatments. They're taking care of their skin, they want to use good products. And now I would say the ratio has become 70-30. So we have 25 to 30% of men as our clients who are coming for face rejuvenation, medifacials, hydra facials, just for detanning. They could be coming, some of them, for Botox, for wrinkles. And of course, I have my surgical set of patients. I think the commonest we do is like six pack surgery these days. I mean, the guys are working out in the gym and they want that extra definition. So you have the six pack surgery, and then you have chest contouring. Well, that we have come to there. And when it comes to queer community, I think India is getting bold and the society is getting bold. The acceptance level has become so good because in the last 5 to 7 years, I've had a lot of the queer community people coming to me for gender transformation or gender reassignment surgery. And usually you would be surprised that they even coming from the small towns with their parents accepting it, and they convincing their parents that this is what I want and I want to be. So it's becoming extremely common, and they're a small knit community. So when one person is happy, the word spreads. And so my clientele, I would say, genuinely in the last 5 years has increased with the queer community. So we do the top surgery, gender reaffirming surgery. We get them onto hormonal treatment, psychological assessment, and then go on a step by step process. And they also ask for a lot of facial transformative procedures. So it need not be surgery, it could be facial feminization or a facial masculinization. So changing the nose and making it from a male to a feminine nose, or vice versa. For men who have a wider forehead, and if it's a male to female trans woman, we look at hair transplant, bringing down the forehead hairline, changing the cheekbones, the jawline transformation. So there's a lot of combative procedures, and I think it's becoming really, really common, and they're getting bold. They know their stand, and they know that I am happy this way. So yes, so these are the commonest procedures that we see in their community.
This is phenomenal, and I think this is amazing what you've said, and I'm sure our listeners are really going to benefit with this, Karishma, because to hear it from the horse's mouth as to who's doing this sort of changes that we look around us and we probably don't know how to comprehend as to where is it that they go, because we have this whole notion about how men may not be able to walk into a corrective surgery place if it's even for their own personal reasons. And it's wonderful to know that it's a 30/70 and there is queer community coming from smaller towns. Kudos to you, Karishma. Fantastic. So, yeah, it's phenomenal. So, there are a lot of people who really question that how ethical it is, for you to change the way you look. I'd really like to have your take on that.
So we cannot, I don't think we should go into the ethical part of it, because I think anybody a person desires in life is ethical. I mean, there is no reason for anybody to question someone's decision to as to how they want to live their life, however it is, in whichever way. I mean, if one looks in front of the mirror every day and you are happy with the way you are, kudos to you, it's amazing, you stay that way. No one is telling you to do anything, you like the way you are. But there are so many people, I mean, how many people, human beings, that make this world? And there are so many minds, and each mind is different, what they want, what they desire. For some people, and it's no more just vanity. It used to be a time where cosmetic surgery was considered just for vanity, or only the models or the stars would do it, or celebrities would be getting into it. No, absolutely not. The In the last 10 years in India, there has been an absolute shift of cosmetic surgery going beyond just vanity. It is one life, people have realized, and they believe that cosmetic surgery, for many, many of them, boosts the self confidence. So the amount of self confidence boost that they get after these procedures is phenomenal. And it's for me, it just brings a smile on my face if they are happy. They are happy at the end of the day, they look at themselves, and that, I think, should not be questioned, because I can understand if there are psychological issues a person has. Now, there's a very important issue I would like to stress on called body dysmorphic disorder. Okay, so this is something where could be an issue, and we, as a plastic surgeon, learn to analyze a patient when they're sitting across us, and are they suffering from this body dysmorphic disorder? Because in that case, no matter what procedure we do on them, they may never be happy, because they would always be questioning themselves, questioning the body, and something is wrong with me. So we try to differentiate a person who genuinely is looking for a plastic surgery, is going to transform their lives, or do they have symptoms of body dysmorphic? And if that is the case, I do send a lot of my clients to a counselor also, because that helps them as well as us understand whether this procedure is really going to make you happy, or is it something that can be, there is some other psychological issue behind which you are doing this procedure. And I think it's very important, as a plastic surgeon, ethically, I look at first differentiating my patient from someone who is mentally positive, mentally sure, knows exactly what they want, or somebody having a body dysmorphic. And if they do have, then I feel a counseling session is always needed so that they understand and I understand that my procedure is going to do good for you. And at the end of the day, some people may say cosmetic surgery, people who do it are just superficial, but I really believe that it is your personal desire. And I feel we should not sitting on the opposite end judge anyone doing what they need to do. I mean, tomorrow, if I need to do something on myself, I mean, my aging is going to continue. And like my mom said, I will age gracefully, but people misunderstand the meaning of grace. Grace is totally different. I want to age gracefully and beautifully till I go in my grave. I mean, there's no harm in saying that because we have one life we all want to achieve. I want to be the best at my profession. I want to take care of myself, and that's why I'm a fitness enthusiast. I mean, all my patients get scared of me because if I do body contouring, I tell them very clearly, you don't work out, I want to see results, which means it's a two-way process. They have to have a fitness regime, they have to have a lifestyle. Surgery is just not the only way out. It is just a way to kind of boost what we are doing, but you have to get the best results by a great lifestyle and have fitness as part of it. So my patients who give me really good results are the ones who are working out. I mean, my surgery is part of it, but then it is them also putting some hard work in.
So coming back to what you said is about, I completely agree with you about the fact that beauty doesn't need to be put inside a box, and superficiality is not just about you wanting to have a Botox. I mean, if I want to look nice, I think one has to have that authority and that right to do exactly how one wishes, and it's one life. And I for myself would vouch with you that the day I would need it, I would definitely go and get myself the filler and get myself the Botox and get myself what it takes
But first,
because
you have to
I
hit the gym. First, you have to hit the gym. It's the diet and exercise. And every patient of mine, I say diet and exercise. I mean, I have
yeah.
said no to a lot of people and not done the surgery because I said, go hit the gym, start your diet, meet me a month later, meet me 2 months later, do the best you can. And then it's the right time to do the procedures that I do. I mean, both ways. I mean, they are taking the effort and the pain to undergo a surgery. At the end of the day, it is a surgery. So you need to make the effort, and then I will do the best that I can, and then we get fantastic results.
So, do you think there are a lot of youngsters who come to you, Karishma, who are at that stage in life when they want to look really good for their dating dates or, for their dating life and, to figure things out? I would really like our listeners to know as to who among that majority of that 70% are they youngsters or are they middle-aged women or are they really people who've had burn issues or they've gone through some sort of a trauma in their life and they need to go ahead with the corrective measures. Would you share that with us?
So I think now this is a problem that I feel the era of social media is can be very good, but it also can create havoc. And what we are seeing is the usual age group of the patients that I would see in my practice was usually 28 plus 25 to 35, and also a large majority were 35 to 50 at one point a few years back. But now I have such young girls and boys, 16, 18, 19, and 20, coming with their parents and insistent about certain procedures. And it took me a while. I kept pushing them away. I kept saying no, counsel them, just think about your studies right now, think about your career and what you're going to do, and create a nice friend circle and be in a positive environment. But it's no stopping them. The Gen Z's, as we call them, are I think their thought process is on a very different. I'm a millennial, and I think like a millennial, but their thought process is very different. They are far more mature than what I was at my age. At 16, 17, I was just getting into medical school. And all I could think of is studies, medicine, having your bunch of friends, be doing sports. And we never, honestly, personally, also, I never thought about how I look or, what I should do. But today's generation is very different. They and the influence of social media is there, and one cannot avoid it. And they are affected by a lot on social media. People should understand that it's sometimes it's not what they show on social media is not always true. There are a lot of filters, there is a lot of makeup, there is so many different aspects to social media. It's very good from a work point of view, and I truly believe, as a millennial, it took me some years to get into social media. I was totally aversive to it, but finally Instagram really gave me that pedestal to show, because there were hardly few plastic surgeons in India putting up anything on Instagram. And there are so many restrictions by the government and the meta of Instagram, which stops us from posting. But I think I said, I'm going to take it ahead. And I said, I'm going to do Instagram. And, it really helped me in my work. It allowed the education to go past and allowed people, my own friends were shocked. They're like, you do all of these things. We just thought you are a surgeon. We didn't know to what extent things are happening. So yes, I wanted to create awareness, education, but now I'm seeing 16-year-olds, 18-year-olds, they want a nose job, and their parents are not able to convince them that wait for a few years or think about something else. And you can always, I feel, cosmetic surgery, the right age is somewhere after 21. It could be anything, because I believe even the body is developing, your bones are developing. Things like the nose is such a delicate structure, and one time done, you want it to be permanent. So I believe that people thinking of cosmetic surgery should think 21 above. But then, as I said, you cannot stop the new generation. They are very, very decisive. They know what they want. And yes, if you're below 18, we should ethically not operate. So I usually get them to get me a certificate from a counselor and a psychiatrist, and there has to be parent legal guardian signatures if we are doing a rare procedure where someone is below 18. So we have to be absolutely, ethically right on those grounds. Yeah. So but now I'm seeing everyone, and I think my oldest patient has been about 70 years old. So there's age no bar for cosmetic surgery.
So let's just talk a little bit about your fitness, journey, and I think it would be a great inspiration for people who are listening to us and watching us. Like you said, very, very categorically that don't just go for the surgery. Please include fitness as part of that entire process. So tell us a little bit about the things that you do.
So, as I said, I was a swimmer in school. I did a lot of swimming. I swam for the YMCA. But I was always a fat kid, and I was always a plump, chubby kid at one time, until I joined medicine. And I realized, because there was a lot of issues in my family. My parents from both sides had diabetes and hypertension, and I had the fat gene, because everyone in the family loved to eat. So we grew up in not eat to live, is live, to eat. So that was the concept, and it took me a while to get my lifestyle and mind changed, because at the age of 23, 21, I suddenly, I was almost going to 34 waist. I was like this real chubby kid. And my friends just thought I'm plump because I'm tall, so I get away with a little, weight gain. But yeah, there was one time I said, this is not happening. And I said, it's not good for me. Going to be a doctor, and I'm going to plan to be a surgeon and a plastic surgeon. And I cannot be looking like that. How do I inspire my people around me? So that is when I started my weight loss journey. And there was a time where I, really shed all the pounds and got myself to that 28 waist that I always look for. And I think 20 years I've been at the gym. I do not get much time for sports now. And since my 13 years of medical school, you're staying in hostels, etc. But I love running, I love going to the gym, and weight training is what I'm passionate about. And I still weight train. In fact, this year I turned 40, so it was my another challenge that we did this year, that I'm going to shed some more, get more toned, and I'm going to get my six pack abs. If it's, and I told my trainer, if you cannot give it to me, then finally I'll do the lipo and get it through a friend, which is okay. So so I want to tell all my patients that, please first get on your fitness journey, do the best that you can. Beyond all of that, there will sometimes still be certain stubborn areas which just don't go, and then it's totally validated. I'm working so hard and I'm still not able to achieve it, so why not? So yeah, I love going to the gym. I cannot 5 to 6 days a week, and if I don't go, I'm very guilty by the end of the day. So I have to
I think,
start my day.
yeah, working out also just really also releases a lot of very happy hormones. And I've
Yes,
noticed that personally, that I've been very grouchy and very irritated. The minute I finished a workout, I'm a better person. I'm responding
better
better to my
person.
mother, who's she's old and she lives with me, and she can be sometimes, very needy. And so yeah, I respond with more calmness, with more empathy, which sometimes you get very grouchy when you don't work out. So I sincerely believe that it releases happy hormones and it's good for our body.
And it gets you active. It gets you
Yeah.
active, and more than anything, I think for me, that 1 hour or 1.5 hour day, I forget about everything. I forget about
Yes,
work. I forget
absolutely.
about what I need to do later, what happened yesterday. You just focus there, and your mind is distracted. It's like, you're completely separated from everything, and that is what everyone should do. And it just feels good, whatever kind of workout you're doing.
So, Karishma, I'm going to circle back to something that you said that, there are only male surgeons, right? And you were the female surgeon. So, it'll be fantastic for, many of our listeners, girls who want to go into this entire space. Tell us some of the challenges that you faced and how did you come out of it? It will really help a lot of women, who probably go through these sort of challenges in any industry that they are in. So, share maybe an incident.
So I would say now in the last 5 to 7 years, things are changing in our profession. When I joined surgery in 2008, before plastic surgery, joined surgery, we were a batch of 12 and I was the only girl. My seniors were all 12 boys. My juniors were all 12 boys. And I had to become like a boy. I mean, my friends call me bro. My all my colleagues who are now also super specialists. Some is an oncosurgeon, someone's a neurosurgeon. We all went into various fields, but it is intimidating for you initially. But I was always a little bit of a tomboy and a bold kid. I grew up with brothers. So I was always a tomboy. And my mom always thought like I was more overconfident than my brothers, more bolder than them. So maybe I had that thing in me to be bold and I don't really care. But I think all the women in whichever field you're going, don't let anything intimidate you. You should be the person intimidating people. You walk into a crowd and they should be intimidated by you. You have to have a little, and to be a surgeon it requires a really strong focus. And see, men and women are different species. We cannot say whatever he does I do, and he cannot say what I do. Like, a man cannot become pregnant. I also cannot live 100 kgs in the gym like a man. So I don't like to compare too much and say I can do everything that they do, but I can do the best at what I am doing. And definitely, I can, when it comes to surgery, and if someone is ready, going into the medical field, I said surgical is a branch which was not touched upon by women, because we'll end up, the marriage happens, children happen, and obviously surgery requires a morning to evening job, night duties, and you would definitely need a very supportive man in your life. So that is why when I joined, I could not see many women doing it. There were, literally, I could count on my fingers. I went for my first aesthetic national conference and I counted the women on my fingers. I said, oh my God. But I will always say now the new generation, they are more independent. No one's getting married so early, but they also want to do tougher jobs and want to be quite independent. And in the last 5 6 years, I am seeing that all the medical college, if there are 12 in 12, a batch of 12, I'm seeing at least 5 to 6 girls taking up surgery, and that
Which
is
is
happening.
fantastic.
It is fantastic. It is fantastic to see, because when for me it was a challenge, it was intimidating, it was not easy. But I think I have been lucky to have really good men, my professors, my batchmates from surgery through plastic surgery. Were wonderful people who always only encouraged me. I did not feel any time that I was being compared. In fact, they only lauded when I did well, and I got the same scoldings like the guys, and they treated me equal. I think I was lucky. I don't think I faced anything so harsh on me, but yes, I had to maintain my confidence and my focus. And yes, initially it was the thing that I have to be as good as a man, I have to be as good. If you think that way, you will deter from your focus. You do the best what you need to do, and do it thoroughly, and you will be as good as the other person, male or female, it doesn't matter. You have to really be strong and focus, and that passion, you have to be passionate. You have to be passionate, and then anything is a piece of cake. But if you don't have that passion, then thing comes that you're not doing well when you're going, or you're not enjoying when you go to work. So uh, I learned the 3 P's long back from my mom, and she said, just remember that till your dying date: persistence, passion, and perseverance. And the 3 P's will just take anyone through. you know all the women out there, please do. I think any job is possible. In fact, we all know that women are multitaskers, and now more the reason, I don't think you need to check. Even care, it is a male dominated profession. I thought about it then. Now I say it, and I say, yeah, it doesn't really matter, because I did what I had to, and I achieved much. What I have done, many of my batchmates have not done, who are men. So that's your answer.
Awesome, Karishma. So exceptionally impressed. And I really follow the 3 Ps exactly like how you said, because I've rebooted also my career. So the 3 Ps, perseverance, persistence, and passion, are the three things that take me forward. So before we end this episode, Karishma, just for our listeners, I need to share a data that says, according to a global survey by the International Society of Aesthetic Plastic Surgery, ISAPS, India ranks fourth with 9,35,487 cosmetic procedures conducted in the last year.
Yes.
So the surgeries account for 4.3% of all procedures recorded globally. We are only growing in this field. There is a great career ahead for a lot of people who want to get into this field. And we have Karishma Kagodu, who is sharing with us her tips as to how you can go ahead and really make your mark in an industry that we know is only going to grow more and more as the years come by. Thank you so much, Karishma, for being on
Thank you
today's
so
episode.
much, Moa. It was really nice talking to you, and I had a lovely time. And thank you so much for having me on your show.
To you, our dearest listeners, you can find us on your favorite streaming services: Spotify, Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, and of course on all other major streaming services. With loads of love, we are The Mohua Show, where we talk ईमानदारी से.